just 2 more points from 7-1 to give him the proper credit, and then we'll finish off with my presentation.
Hey guys, 7-1 here. In this video, I want to do a recap of the number coding and earthquake coding for McCormick Place in Chicago. And I also want to do a recap of the Revelation 8:11 coding. And I'm going to tie those two together with some predictive programming or predictive content from the band U2. And I've shown all this before, but McCormick Place in Chicago is exactly 585 miles to the Georgia Guidestones. And what makes that significant is its study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. And the connection to Revelation with that is that the Guidestones were completed on 3/22/1980. And this was the 6th day of the 12th week of 1980. And that's a reference to Revelation 6:12, the great earthquake. I'll go back and show you Revelation 8:11 again and the number coding here. Revelation 8:11 is the 141st verse of Revelation. And it talks about the wormwood star, which was what I do most of the content of my channel is about the wormwood star from Revelation 8:11. Anyways, 8:11 is also the 141st prime number. And if you take the 3 permutations of 8:11 and the 3 permutations of 141 and add them together, it sums to 1776, the founding year of the United States. So you can see there's deliberate number coding regarding this verse of Revelation. Go back here and we're going to take a look at some of the symbolism that these monuments and the distances between the monuments in Chicago here kind of represent. So I have a lot of I've showed you all of this before, but we'll just kind of do a quick recap. McCormick Place, very interesting. McCormick Place is the largest convention center in the world. It's adjacent to Ares Crown Theater, right? Ares is the god of war, like the theater of war. And we have Martin Luther King Drive runs adjacent on the other side here of McCormick Place. Martin Luther King, of course, was assassinated. McCormick Place, super connected symbolically to Trinity. We have this McCormick Place website. It shows the symbol has this star, and that star is connected to the San Jacinto Monument in Texas. San Jacinto Monument in Texas has the exact same star on its on the top of it here, and on this website here it says that the star weighs 220 tons, and I'll show you why that's so significant. But if we go back here and take a look at the map, we're going to look at McCormick Place, and we're going to zoom out here, and we're going to go all the way down to how McCormick Place, which has the star in its symbol, the San Jacinto Monument in Texas. If we follow this line and goes directly through the San Jacinto Monument, it points directly at McCormick Place. And then perpendicular, exactly 90 degrees to this line that points at McCormick Place, is if we draw another line through the reflecting pool, this line points directly to the Trinity test site. It's kind of interesting that they just released the movie Oppenheimer, all about the Trinity test. So here's our Trinity test site, which runs perfectly perpendicular to the line that points to McCormick Place, and this points directly to the San Jacinto Monument, directly through the reflecting pool. Let's see what else I have here. But it's this part that I want to cover today. is the part about the original intent of the 14th Amendment. Because in this picture right here, if we look at this gateway arch, now this is something Bobby Simpson pointed out to me, but if we look at Gateway Arch Park right here, if we look real close, it looks like the female reproductive system. Okay, here are the ovaries, right, the uterus, and the birth canal. Okay, and I'll overlay the picture here. Right, so here's our overlay of the female reproductive system on top of Gateway Park. Right? Everyone got that? Gateway Park is the female reproductive system. Okay, we got it. Now, interestingly enough, we have the female reproductive system right across the river. We take a look. We have the male counterpart here represented. Of course, I think you can see it. And if we even look at the reproductive organ here, they even have gateway geyser, right? A fountain, right? Obviously, this part is backwards, but I'll show you why it's backwards here in a second. So we have the male reproductive organ, the female reproductive system, and what is this female reproductive system? What is it being birthed into? Well, that's going to be the main subject of this video. It has to do with the 14th Amendment, it has to do with slavery, and I'll show you what this building is and why it's so important. But this is a representation of your being born into this building. Okay. That's the big idea here. Okay, this building is called the Old Courthouse, and it just happens to be the courthouse where they decided the Dred Scott decision. Now, if you're not familiar with the Dred Scott decision, I'll just read the first part here. It's really simple and basic, but it was a landmark decision of the United States Supreme Court that held the U.S. Constitution did not extend American citizenship to people of black African descent, and therefore they could not enjoy the rights and privileges that the Constitution conferred upon American citizens. Right?
So here you have the Cloud Gate sculpture, which colloquially Chicagoans call the Bean. They're very proud of the sculpture.
Chicago's most iconic structure, the Bean in Millennium Park, is one of the Midwest's top tourist destinations.
Today, the man who created what's officially titled Cloud Gate returned to the sculpture for the first time. The artist tells our Vince Girasoli he never imagined it would evolve into the work of art it is today.
At any given time, you'll find countless people snapping photos and interacting with the mirrored surfaces of Chicago's Bean.
I was rather emotional this morning.
But for the silver-haired gentleman in the dark glasses, it's an extra special moment.
It feels strange, but it's good.
Sir Anish Kapoor is the British sculptor who planted the Bean in Chicago.
The moment you begin to walk around, it changes as an object.
His first visit back since its 2006 installation is taking him by surprise.
Did you expect you'd feel that way?
No, I thought I knew it. And weirdly, I kind of don't.
11 years ago, selfies weren't an everyday occurrence. The Bean is now the backdrop in tens of millions. Thousands of wedding parties stop by as well. Impact's not lost on Kapoor.
I think about this idea of real engagement. People come here, take a selfie, but are actually involved in the object and therefore with each other.
The usually reserved Kapoor, caught up in the moment, even playfully jumped for street photographer Susan Romano.
In a vertical city, it's very hard to compete.
So Kapoor designed a horizontal reflective urban entrance he called Cloud Gate, which didn't last long.
What do you think about us calling it something else?
But the Bean, of course, says that it's everyone's object. Everyone knows what the Bean is, in a way. And I like that.
So to give you an idea, this is how big the sculpture is. This basically, I mean, they call it a bean, they call it a cloud, but what I think they're trying to do This is the cosmic egg right here, the beehive cluster, M44. And I think that's what this is. Their perverted version of the cosmic egg that mirrors reality because they mirror reality. And this egg is for
as a message to those people who would see this symbol that inside here is Phanes. Phanes being the god of light, the first original god, also called Protogonos. Phanes is represented with a serpent around him. Now, Phanes actually literally means bringer of light, and in the Orphic tradition, Phanes is the very first god, or at least the firstborn, because the egg is issued from Kronos and Ananke. Now, Kronos is the god of time, and Ananke is the goddess of inevitability. You might call it fate. And the two of them together brought forth this Orphic egg from which Phanes originated.
This is the triangle, the fire element of Indianapolis to Morocco to Muhammad, and then back again. This is the 11, 12, 9, but this is the fire element with here the little wadjet pointing right to Chicago. And Chicago is the chi, is this. Chicago is she, Chicago, or cage. The she cage, the kai, the cage of the she, of the key. It's also the cogno of the key. Cogno of the life force, cage of the life force. Also, cogno goes to Cygnus. Cygnus is the cognition. She, cogno. She, Cygnus. It also means she, Cygnus. It's a feminine energy here. And the chi is the key, is the Greek, which is the X and the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet. That's important. So the key is also the X. So that's this X. And this X is Cygnus, which is this X. The wingspan and the spine. Wingspan and the spine. Wingspan and the spine. So it's two X's. So this fire element is pointing right up to the two X's of Chicago, which is right here. Chicago is the she Cygnus, perverted as the she cage. She is the she Cygnus, perverted as the she cage. Now, the wadjet is synonymous with, here in Chicago, McCormick Place, where all the lines that 7-1 is showing is basically is mostly coming from or crossing over. This, now I can't confirm this with anything. I just get the impression the Cormick part of this, I get the impression that it means cobra. This means cobra. I just get the impression. The wadjet will birth the sun, the S-O-N, with the power of the S-U-N, the rising sun in the morning, as the new mother. And the wadjet is the symbol of the cobra from the southern Upper Egypt, the Nubia portion of Egypt. And this energy is going to flow down here with, I just couldn't color this in yellow because of the wording,